in attaining the abundance that you so richly deserve. So that's what we're going to be embracing today. All right. Now, with that said, it is my pleasure to introduce a lovely friend and colleague, a Bay Area artist who's going to be leading us in a somatic grounding to set us in the right frame of mind for today's event. And that is my good friend and colleague, Gia Jackson. Hi,
Hi.
well,
Wow. I was just over here like, preach, David. Yes. That is exactly the message that I want to be hearing today. Thank you so much for inviting me to do the somatic grounding for this event.
thank you so much, and I'll let you get to it.
Great. So, hello, everyone. My name is Gia. I also go by JJ. I use she or they pronouns. I am a Black woman with skin tone close to an acorn. I have these ginger copper red faux locks in. I have clear square shaped sunglasses, and I'm wearing my dad's Howard University sweat t shirt because it is cold here in San Francisco. So for today's grounding, I'm going to go ahead and put 3 questions into the chat. In my work as a dancer and choreographer and interdisciplinary movement-based artist, qualitative researcher, I'm getting a doctorate in medical sociology. I found that the biggest difference for when I feel abundant, rich, supported, flourishing in my work is when I'm really pairing my intentions with my actions and evaluating success on those measures rather than focusing on specific outcomes that may or may not meet other people's expectations. So today, our grounding is going to help us marry some of our intentions for today's event with actions that we can do while we're participating. And while we're doing this, we're going to do a breathing exercise. I don't know about y'all, but I have this leaky faucet that has been leaking for like a year. This is terrible in California, but it has made me rethink my breathing exercises. So instead of asking you to inhale for 3, hold for 3, exhale for 3, and hold for 3, I'm going to ask you to think of yourself in a positive way as a leaky faucet, and that you can expand how much you're taking in, you can maintain how much you're taking in, you can expand how much you're letting out, and you can sustain how much you're letting out. So we're going to breathe in for 3, slowly maintain that for another 3, intentionally push and exhale out for 3, and still let out just a little bit for another 3. So in this way, we're always in motion on our 3 rhythm. From there, I'm going to ask you to bring one hand to your forehead and one hand to your heart center. Breathing in for 3, maintaining that for 3, exhaling for 3, sustain for 3. And while we do this, look around your space and ask yourself, what am I open to today? Whatever it is that you're open to, assign it to something that you can see or feel or smell or touch in your space. From there, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, what did I bring today that can be placed aside to create more space for what I'm open to today? And as you breathe and name these things, go ahead and literally draw your hands away from yourself and place them into your environment. So they're still here. It's okay. You're not leaving them behind. Just place them off to the side. And our last question is, What did I bring today that can be moved forward so that others may more easily connect with my offering? And as these things come to mind, come to heart, come to body, bring them forward and place them as close to the camera, as close to your computer, as close to your phone, out in front of you, so that they are easy for you to reach and easy for others to reach. And we'll just stay in this cycle of moving things aside, moving things forward, and locating what we want to be open to in our space already around us. We'll bring both of our hands back to our heart center and to our forehead. And let's do one last breath cycle together. Inhaling for 3, maintaining for 3, exhaling for 3, sustaining for 3. Thank you so much for moving through that with me, David.
Thank you so much, Gia. Definitely putting us into the perfect framing for the next part of the program. I already feel more centered just with those simple motions, and I already getting the body right. So thank you so much for that. We'll see you a little bit later. All right. And wonderful. Moving right along, I want to introduce another friend and colleague who is going to pleasure us with a poem. She is a Los Angeles based poet and a glorious friend, and she's going to help us bring some artistic energy into the space, and that is Linda Ravenswood.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Thank
Hello.
you so much for having me today. I'd first like to offer this land acknowledgement. As you said, David, I'm in Los Angeles, so-called Los Angeles. Um, I'm, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am about 5 feet, 5.5 inches off the ground. I am the perfect combination of my white indigenous mother and my white indigenous father. I'm an only child and I have slightly longer than shoulder length chestnut brown hair and brown eyes. And I'm so glad to be with you. So I acknowledge that my home and my birthplace in California exists upon this occupied territory of hundreds of indigenous tribes. My home place has been stewarded by these indigenous ancestors since time immemorial. I acknowledge the Gabrielino and the Tongva peoples as the traditional stewards of Tovangar, which is known as the unceded territory of Los Angeles. I acknowledge the land and the water here, and that the tribal continuity and community preservation depends upon clean, shared, secure, and sustainable land and water access. I acknowledge the history upon which our state of California has been built, how policies, systems, and structures of spoken and unspoken racism continue to oppress and even erase people of color. I honor and respect the history of the original inhabitants and places that preceded the founding of LA, and I'm committed to sharing the history and to continuing the work of kinship, listening, support, and reparation, as well as building long-lasting relationships with Indigenous and other community partners. I'm grateful to work for the Tarak Sotam, which means Indigenous people, and for their continuing flourishing, security, and safety. And finally, I offer thanks and homage to our shared Hanukvetam, which means our ancestors, our elders, and the Eyuhankem, which means our relatives and relations from past, here in present, and on their way. So that's my personal land acknowledgement. And now here's a poem called Poem for Defiance for Dave Mack, because he asked. So I close my eyes and I let the Uber driver take me. When you're there, you can get more places. With even just a little money, you can maybe make more money. Here in the desert, there are many bones. If you found them, you could weave a raft of bones, but still you wouldn't know the whole story. You could sing into some bone along the joint boat where it touches wind. The sound of braided bones will tell stories that reach you. Will you be reached where you are in the city? For now, let this be the house where we live into everything we want, where we never have to brawl, where no growth but through pain is debunked. Let this be our house where no one throws someone's art out the window, where no one locks bedroom doors or bathroom doors, where you come and go free. This house where no one challenges your right at night to make it seem you're less than because you want to live without drama. This house where it is understood the difference between writing drama and living drama. This is our house that accepts peonies, that wants figs to flourish, where boys cradle and couch, where they deep dive to touch all the women inside of them. Clover hoof lad, iron mama, good uncle with the long braid. These are angels abiding. And here is also our house where no one bends and gags their face in the open wound toilet. This house where we stay good muddy all day if we want. This house where all women can be juniper, can be our own house plants, where we dip in bells and arches, become great maps. This house where boys cover themselves in kisses and are their own silver jangling coins, necks and veins and stems, taut buds flying in their hair. This is the house dreaming the house. Can you see the 7 men on the forklift? Can you see them jumping down and singing on into the night and staying and staying? This house, here together, where sunlight covers all us living children, and we are safe. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Linda. If you all are feeling that, slap on that applause or do a thumbs up in the chat and those emojis on the lower right-hand side. I see, I don't know if you can see Linda, but you're getting lots of applause, lots of thumbs up. If there was snaps, you'd be getting snaps. I think I have been in that house that you are describing, and I can feel it. So thank you for that beautiful poem. And Linda, look forward to connecting with you again later in the program. And please, Linda, put in the chat where people can connect with you to support your work and to see more and hear more and find out more. And already we're seeing in the chat, beautiful, thank you. Hope we can get a copy of the poem Snaps. So people are loving what you had to share. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my friend. All right, you all. Next, we have another special part of our program for the next 30 minutes. We are going to have a panel conversation of some really great creatives. Moderating that is another dear friend and a colleague, a board member of Artist Magnet, the community engager, or not the community engager, the engagement producer of the event. You probably were messaging her if you were connecting with us ahead of this event, and the moderator for this session, Andrea Spearman. Hi, Andrea. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello, good to see you. All right, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Glad to be here on this lovely and illustrious and thought-provoking Martin Luther King Day.
Beautiful. And you're part of making it a lovely and illustrious and thought-provoking. So glad to have you. Can't wait to see you in action. I'm going to let you do your thing. All right.
All right. Hello, greetings all. I'm Andrea Spearman. I am a light-skinned Black woman with my naturally curly brown hair framing my face. Today I'm wearing black and brown glasses, red lips, and a dark blue blouse that has orange flowers scattered throughout. As David said, I am an Artist Magnet board member. Additionally, I'm a Bay Area choreographer and provided administrative support and services to many nonprofits and fiscally sponsored dance artists throughout the Bay Area for 10 plus years. If you find yourself with a question for our panelists today, please type it into the Q&A tab inside of the chat. If these questions are not answered during the discussion, we'll do our best to address them during the networking portion after this. Thank you. So welcome panelists. Let's bring them up to the stage. Naima, Trevor, Diego, and Bernard. Come on up to the stage. We're so glad to have these wonderful panelists with us. Oh, they're all here. Look at these wonderful, beautiful faces on today. So welcome panelists. Please give a brief introduction of who you are, including your pronouns and visual description of yourself. And what does an abundance mindset mean to you? Let's start with Diego.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I think this is very special place for me. I'm a South American artist. I've been in this city. I'm based in Los Angeles. I've been here for 6 years. And about the abundance, at this moment, I can really say it's for me just about the hard work that I've been doing in the past can create to see my life with abundance in any aspect, not just in the money, more in relationship, like a personal relationship, into creations. Um, Basically, I'm a multiple hat guy. I do a lot of stuff. And what I want to share with you is my project on the street. I'm an actor who couldn't find a place for acting, so I went out to the street and I started to make a clown. I started to juggle, and I started to do like a street intervention, and I become, I don't know what I'm right now. Like I'm a very curious person, and I love Los Angeles. So that's what I can say about abundance is mostly um, to don't be afraid of failure, to don't be afraid of fail over and over, because all of those stuff gave you experience to face new challenge. And I'm indigenous by my mother's side, by my father, so in my cosmovision it's if we put seeds we are going to have veggies in order to eat. So yeah, and I'm very brief for the abundance mentality. I think it's very important. For me it was very important to identify who I was, who were my fathers, my mothers, my ancestor in general. That gave to me a searching of identity. And my pronouns are he, him. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Let's hop over to our other lady of the hour, Naima McCallop.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It's such a joy and honor and pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Naima Mac Michelle McCallop. My pronouns are she, her, and queen. I am a Nubian skinned woman, and I'm wearing bright neon pink earrings, a Martin Luther King shirt, and a floral blazer. And just a little bit about me. I am a speaker. I am an author, and I am an executive wellness coach who is on a mission to end generational burnout and be the catalyst for generational well-being in the lives of Black and Indigenous leaders. I am also the founder of Divine Pause and the daily mindfulness practice, lifestyle, and global movement committed to teaching Black women how to slow down, connect in, and break the cycle of burnout for good through my coaching programs, retreats, and keynotes. And so, with the question of what does abundance mean to me? Abundance, first of all, is not just a mindset for me. Abundance is my birthright. And I believe that abundance is all of ours birthright. And what abundance does is, for me, it gives me the permission to show up in any space that I'm in to be whole, healthy, and well. And so when I think about abundance, it is, like I said, it's not just this mindset, but it's really walking in the space of how am I going to live this in my life? And how am I going to allow myself to embrace this as my truth, because it is. And so abundance means that, as we know, the word is that there is more than enough, right? Abundance means that there is more than enough for me, there is more than enough for you. And abundance means that we have the opportunity to really dive into this concept of collectivity, right? Being able to come together in spaces like this beautiful one here to know that together we are also abundant. And there's so much synergy in support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on, collectivity.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Over to Trevor Davis.
All right. Hey, everyone. Very honored to be part of this panel. Excited to chat about something so important as abundance. This mindset opens up all kinds of possibilities for artists, for arts administrators, and it is essential for us to thrive. So great subject matter. I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'm Trevor Davis, as the intro suggested. My pronouns are he, him. I'm on traditional Tongva land in LA here, and I am a tall bearded, light-skinned Irish Italian guy. Yeah, that's me. I am executive director of a nonprofit called Reach for Community, which is dedicated to articulating and then advancing the field of arts-based social work. So the whole idea is that there are people who use the arts every single day in our communities to serve our communities as social work, whether it's, in different areas, such as the acronym REACH suggests. We use the arts to revitalize, educate, activate, connect, and heal our communities. So it's this vast toolbox of how they serve communities, and we need to really embrace that, whether that's looking at, speaking about abundance, looking at the power of the arts to revitalize struggling economies and low-income areas, to say, hey, this attracts investment into communities when we make it a hip, exciting place, and the artists, create that vibrancy that draws everyone to the table. That kind of cultural placemaking is crucial economically. And it also obviously heals, educates, connects. So, I guess I want to kind of riff a little for a moment here, if I may. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hold off and come back to a bigger spiel. Slightly? Okay. So I will just say briefly then, just to place this in our kind of thought process as we go. I'll share this quote just as we are on Dr. King's birthday here. Just one of my favorite quotes from him is, "I have the audacity to believe that peoples everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture, for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits. I think that's so beautiful because I think that that audacity to believe that this kind of bare minimum for human existence can be possible is crucial. That faith is what leads us to actually come together as communities and make that a reality. And so, you know, I'll riff more in a bit about how I think we can come together better as communities, but I think that's really crucial, is to have that faith as we're building together.
You are absolutely right. And we're going to get an intro from Bernard Brown and then come back to the group for more wonderful talk about faith, failure, learning by failure, and collective community. Come on, Bernard, talk to us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bernard Brown. I am here in what we call Los Angeles, in the Tongva, our people's lands. I'm a little bit unwell today, so if I'm a little bit off the charts, I'll try to stay grounded. Thank you so much, Gia, for that earlier. A friend of mine, Dr. Shamel Bell, is an activist, an artist, a mother, an educator, a scholar, an instigator. And she reminds me that when we breathe together, we are conspiring together. And so this conspiring, you know, the root word, together, and breath. When we do that together, we are all moving toward that common good. And so we've already been conspiring, and I'm a conspirator as well. I'm a native to Los Angeles. I am a dancer, a choreographer, a performer, and an educator and an arts activist. Most of my work is housed in my company, Bernard Brown BB Moves. We tour our social justice dance theater themed work, both locally and internationally. We just came back from our first international tour to Burkina Faso. And that leads me into abundance. Burkina Faso is one of the poorest nations on this planet. It's in West Africa. But let me tell you something. Those folks are overflowing with creativity, resource, ingenuity. And they welcome people with food and open hearts and open arms. I found home. And so abundance looks like going to a place where you're loved, understanding that you are not without. There is no lack. We already have it. It's how do we harness it? And so I'm learning this again and again through this collective practice. I'm happy I got to go last, right? And so my first 2 times there, I went by myself to sort of acclimate, understand, be a part of the community. And the last time when we had the tour, I got to bring dancers from Los Angeles to integrate with African dancers. And so we performed this work that was about reconnecting to our lineage. But I think it's emblematic of how we as a human race can use the things that we have in common to find the goodness within us and like quit this division and work to celebrate our intersectional richness and the goodness that is in us. And so I'm learning again and again that I breathe with you, I work with you. It's not all Pollyanna, you know, thinking about Dr. King and his radical economic justice plan he had for us. That is where he went at the end of his life, right? Calling for workers' rights, economic justice for everyone, thinking about this basic universal income. Like, what are the things that we need? The baseline things, as what was talked about earlier, to get this place of thriving. And abundance isn't just about monetary. It is about how you feel, where you belong. And so the work that I do as an educator is really working against these hierarchies that are built into our thinking. And so planting seeds of equity and understanding and truth through a historical and a social contextual place. And so the body is what we all have in common. And so starting with the breath, hearing the words that are about our bones, like we're in it, y'all. We are bringing this dream of abundance to a reality. Thank you.
Yes. Y'all are doing so well. You all have defined abundance as learning through failure, collective creation, keeping faith, and harnessing the power of love and community. So now that we got all that, how do we conspire to get there? Using Bernard's word, how do we conspire as a collective to get there? How do we empower ourselves and each other? Don't all speak at once.
I'll jump back in. We have to have the vision. We have to like see what it is we want to build. And when we can see it, we can attain it. And it sounds very simple, but as a dancer, as a practitioner, I have to see myself jumping over the heads of people. I have to I have to vision it. And when I can do that, then I can work towards it. And so, like when we think about right now, this idea of representation, people seeing people that look like them, that are had the similar experiences, then it opens up our creative capacity, right? But I think visioning is a good starting point.
Absolutely. I am very much in agreement with that. And I know Naima has more to say as well.
Yes, I am so with you, Bernard. So beautiful. I think, along with visioning, I think it's important for us to redefine what abundance means to us personally, right?
Mhm.
Because that's where it starts. Because if we don't even think that we are capable of abundance, right, then we're never going to actually live into it, let alone embrace it as our truth. Because one thing I hope that everybody leaves here and knowing is that abundance is your birthright, period. And so, okay, period.
Mhm.
And so it's important for us to redefine what it means in our lives. And then also, one thing that I wanted to share was a quote that I shared at a keynote event that I did with PepsiCo. And I was amongst a room of phenomenal Black leaders of nonprofits all over the US. And this quote, I think, is so powerful to our conversation today, which is by Bell Hooks. And she writes,
Yes.
one of the most vital ways we sustain ourselves is by building communities of resistance, places where we know we are not alone. And why I wanted to emphasize that is because it goes back to what everyone here has said, which is community, right? Which is what we've created right here, right now. And knowing that together we can build the world in which we envision and want to see and desire to create. And goes back to what Bernard said in reference to vision, having that vision and knowing that together we can make it possible. To me, that's how we get there.
Yes. And also, I want to add in, going back to what Diego said about taking that risk for failure. Because if you don't take that risk, you have to keep doing it, as he said, over and over and over to keep learning. And you have to come to it with that mindset of, I deserve this. This is for me. Nobody's going to stop me from getting what I need to share in this collective ability. So I like what you said earlier, Diego, about taking that risk of failure. Because if you don't know, you have to be in that mindset of like, no, I'm believing in abundance and I'm putting myself out there over and over again. What were you going to say, Diego?
Yeah, for me, that part is also like it's like a process of lifetime. Like when I start to understood, uh, maybe this is better when I start to listening myself, like where my needs, like how can I express myself in another way. When I start to really listen myself, I discover that I can do the same with others. I can start to listen my community and I can see what is affecting to my community. So in that process, I can create through my artistic practice something that not only gave to the people, but also something that gave to myself. And in this, something that came to my mind, for example, like example, but if I were a automobile mechanic, uh, it is there is a difference between listening and hear. like in the word, like the verb have different contexts. So for example, if I am like a good mechanic, I'm not gonna hear something and, oh, okay, the motor is working, it's okay. But if I'm a good one, if I'm really passionate by what I like, I'm gonna, and just listening the motor, I'm gonna see, oh, this car have a problem here. And I bring that example because for me also that like something like for me was a struggle. um this whole idea of abundance is very like powerful for our communities and for my communities. If I need to represent someone here, I can represent myself. But I'm sharing with you all like I came here 6 years ago as an artist who saw this city, love it, all the people here, and I just stay here. And I just stay as an undocumented guy, and I just stay and I work until I could see small seeds that start to grow all over. And there is also like a more reflection into myself, like when I start to, again, to really listen myself, I can start to listen each other. And I think like, I don't know what is that, but let's see, in my perspective, magic appear. Like if I need to say in somehow, because there is like a rational way for me, but there is also like my spiritual way, like what my ancestor believe, how they have like contact and in communication with the world, with the object, with the material stuff. So it's a little bit of that. When I listen, I can be in this boat that the right flow and also into the mystery. And for me, abundance is a lot of mystery too, because I never know when something can happen.
You're right about that. You never know. And I know that Trevor wanted to say something also because he, does a lot of arts-based social work, advancing that field. Say more.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm inspired by what everyone's saying, and I couldn't agree more. I think there's kind of two things that I would hope to stress with this concept of abundance. One is the individual, and one is the communal. So there's the individual aspect of it for me, which is like, if you don't grow up with money or with a healthy relationship with money, I didn't grow up, the wealthiest man on earth, and so I experienced this, and I've had to kind of deprogram some, uh, you know, toxic and unhelpful beliefs myself around money, right? And of course, abundance is not just money, but let's be real, that's a big part of it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of folks can have some really negative associations with that. And I've had, some really inspiring mentors, my wife and other, friends and mentors that have really helped me to reassess like some of these like almost implicit unconscious bias we have against money, to say like, oh, money is the root of all evil, money is this and that. So individually, like, question within ourselves, what are your internal belief systems that maybe you're not even aware that you have, that have been kind of whispered to you as a child, that have gotten deep inside you, and you say like, what does money mean to you? What does abundance mean to you? Is it something that corrupts? Is it something that is evil? Or is it something that what it really means is the ability to provide for my family, the ability to make sure that if there's any problems, I got health care that's like sufficient to really pay for it. I can send my kid to a good school. I can, help others. I can help my community. I can uplift. I can invest in communities that I care about, So that's the individual level. I think really taking a serious look at like really what messages have come into us from a young age in terms of money and abundance. And then there's the communal level, Oh, and I will say that, as regards that, I thought of Father Greg Boyle from Homeboy Industries. He really, strikes me with his message of working with folks who are in gangs or in coming from, out of coming, into reentry after prison and so forth. And so he talks about how there's this toxic, fatal absence of hope from some of these lower income areas where folks might not, they're making decisions maybe not even expecting themselves to live past 21, you know. So if there's any internal process that's saying like, I haven't examined this, but like maybe I don't have expectations, I don't have faith, I don't believe, I don't have like the risk you guys are talking about, to the willingness to take that risk, to believe that something else is possible than what I've seen or that what I've grown up in, that is a big thing to break down. And finally, just to talk about the community aspect of that, I believe deeply in this. That's why I've been a community organizer. That's why I'm, working to bring together these arts-based social workers to do something. I think that, there's this artificial scarcity mindset out there where, we think that not so much is possible because the means of production or the wealth is all in the hands of the few, more and more, as Dave spoke about at the beginning. But the more we create, like have more of a creative revolution, where we create better alternatives, the more that we're going to empower ourselves. So we can look for avenues of abundance that are not just from the government or from these foundations, but we can create social enterprises that fund our goals and fund our communities. We can be the change we want to see by coming together and seeking out not just identity-based communities, but value-based communities, because we're missing out if we segment ourselves, as I think has been somewhat of a trend with social media and the internet, is that we're living in these filter bubbles. And, it's wonderful to identify with identity-based communities, but also our values. We can come together from all our differences and build for positive change and really transform our communities if we say, look, we can create abundance, we can make change, we can fund our communities in a whole new way. And it just takes a whole different relationship with money, relationship with our own power to create better alternatives and have that kind of agency, creative agency.
Absolutely. And just to expand on what you just said, Trevor, so many people misquote that phrase about money. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. And people, because we definitely need the money. Like, let's not get that wrong. We definitely need the money, but it's all about the intentionality of it. We need this money to support our communities and perform our services and artistic work. And it's really about bringing, as you said, these foundations and corporate donors to task about who we are and what they should be donating towards. It's bringing local and national folks together to improve lives and save lives through the arts. You all have contributed so much to this conversation. Let's check in to see if there's a cue there's so many great comments in the chat. Intention is so important. Yes, thank you, Annie Lesser. Ooh, Melinda Isadora, our community engager, said there's so much trauma around money. As you said, Trevor, I wonder if any of you all can speak to, again, what Trevor said, like, how can we reframe our relationship to money so that we can be in abundance and out of that scarcity mindset? Any of you can answer.
I can share like something personal. So I like this spiritual world that I have, my spirituality. There is some stuff like my grandmother did, there is not money. Okay, so let's do kind of ritual. So let's talk with the nature, let's talk with something that we don't know. So we put some lentils, under the full moon one day. And next day, someone have a new gig, someone got a new job. Like I think like there is then another guy who talk about like how we can play with the unconscious through like practice, like actions, and that is what I experience a lot in theater. When I try to be in that character and I start to be different, and something is gonna happen. So for me, like to break like the trauma of money, I do it with magic. I have no problem. I got $1 and I said, this dollar is 1 million of dollar. And then I don't keep it for myself. I give to someone who need it. And in that moment, bam, I create something in my unconscious that I have the abundance that I needed. Something like that.
Yes. Oh, I love that. You give to get,
Yeah.
putting that out into that atmosphere, that circular abundance. So that way it's shared community, shared leadership, shared finances, shared abundance. I love that. Thank you so much, Diego, for closing us out with that. Thank you so much to all of our panelists who have been chatting with us today. Y'all give them a hand clap. Let me see those hands in the chat. Put them together. Everyone has been so wonderful. And David Mack is bringing us back so we can wrap up. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for a great job moderating, Andre. You got 3 rhymes in there. Mac back rap, good job. And panelists as well, Diego, Bernard, Trevor, Naima. Thank you so much for inspiring us with that conversation. There's so much more we could talk about this. So this is really to get us into that frame of mind to keep the conversation going. So this is just the beginning, or even more aptly, as Naima, you were referring to, this is a continuation, right, of work that's been done. So this is building on a foundation. And so we want to spend the next hour to giving people the opportunity to continue the conversation on the virtual floor. But I want to thank you all participants for being a part of the experience, listening to our panelists. We're going to do some gratitudes. We're going to bring some folks up onto this stage. So first, I want to bring the Abundance team up onto the stage, those who are still with us, to shout you out for the great job you did. It takes a lot of people to put something like this together on multiple virtual platforms on a holiday weekend. So yeah, come up, don't be shy. You come up, you come down, come up on, you all know who you are. So we got Andrea, we got Gia, we got Linda, we've got Melinda, we've got Chris, we've got Bernard, Trevor, Naima, Diego. Hello, hello. These are the people that came together and helped make it happen for us today.